Good morning, students. Hope you all are doing well. Previously in our classrooms, we were discussing about the unit 4, that is the application of biotechnology in various fields. So we have discussed the application of biotechnology in agriculture and medicine so far. Today we will discuss about the application of biotechnology in the environment. I think most of the students will be aware of the environment, that what is environment. Anything that surrounds us is the environment. The water, the gases around us or in the atmosphere of the earth, everything is environment. The abiotic components or the biotic components, all are the components of the environment. So in the environmental protection, there are many laws, even the government agencies are working on the environmental protections. But particularly if we talk about the biotechnology, or we will just discuss the applications of the biotechnology in the environment protection, that how the biotechnology can enhance the environmental protection. So let's just discuss in the brief. So biotechnology has shown great promises in solving many of the environmental problems. Mainly, most probably अगर हम बात करें तो sewage treatment, biodegradation of organic compounds and use of the less toxic crops, etc. are some important points that can enhance the environmental protection. For example, if we prepare a genetically modified organism which is less susceptible to pests or weeds, अगर उसको वीड्स और पेस्ट का खतरा ही नहीं है तो हम हर्बिसाइड्स या पेस्टिसाइड्स का यूज़ कम कर सकते हैं. एंड वी नो दैट हर्बिसाइड्स एंड पेस्टिसाइड्स आर टॉक्सिक टू द एनवायरनमेंट. सो दीज कैन बी सम मेथड्स. If you talk about sewage treatment briefly, so sewage is our household sewage or the municipal waste. That is the main concern of maximum amount of water pollution. So if we treat that water, that sewage water, and we can use it in different purposes, so we can enhance the environment protection for sure. So here are some points or some applications of biotechnology in environment. We will just discuss them in brief. So first is bioremediation. Remediation is the treatment of anything, and bioremediation means treatment with the help of biological organisms, means microorganisms. We know the soil have many contaminants these days. We use many chemicals. So those chemicals are just in the form of contaminants absorbed in the soil. So removal of those contaminants or toxic metals or any pollutants with the help of microorganisms is called bioremediation. The bioremediation can occur naturally, means the microorganisms itself just remove those contaminants by breaking down the organic compounds into simple carbon dioxide, water or salts, etc. Or the bioremediation can be achieved artificially also. We can prepare synthetic bacteria that can break down a particular chemical or a particular pollutant. So treatment of the soil by the help of microorganisms, means biological organisms, is called bioremediation, and it can be achieved by the biotechnology. That's why we are studying it in applications. Next is biomass energy production. Biomass energy production means energy from the biological sources or the biological organisms. There are many agricultural waste in the rural areas. So in the rural area, from that agricultural waste, some methane bacteria can degrade that agricultural waste and can change it into biogas, and the biogas can be used as a energy or as a fuel. Ethanol can also be produced by the microorganisms. There is a term anaerobic respiration. Whenever there is a breakdown of glucose C6H12O6 in absence of oxygen, generally the glucose is break down into the presence of oxygen, the process is called respiration. But whenever there is no oxygen, it is called anaerobic respiration. The glucose is intermediately break down into C2H5OH, that is ethanol, and the carbon dioxide gas. So this ethanol is also a source of energy, and that can be used. This process is also called fermentation. So with this help of these all microorganisms and these techniques that we call biotechnology, we can produce the biomass energy also. Next we will discuss about the biosensors. So biosensors are physical devices that can detect and measure the quantities of specific substances in a variety of environments. Simply अगर कहा जाए तो biosensors जो हैं वो सेंस करते हैं एनवायरनमेंट की कंडीशन क्या है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हमें कैसे पता कि अभी एयर में जो है पॉल्यूशन ज़्यादा है, वाटर में पॉल्यूशन ज़्यादा है, तो वी यूज सम कंपाउंड्स or organisms to detect the quality of the environment. These substances may be enzymes or antibodies or microorganism itself. खुद किसी हम किसी ऑर्गेनिज्म को भी यूज़ कर सकते हैं कि एनवायरनमेंट की कंडीशन क्या है, उस चीज़ को डिटेक्ट करने के लिए कोई डिवाइस हम यूज़ कर सकते हैं. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, मोस्ट प्रोबेबली यू हैव हर्ड अबाउट द लाइकेन्स. Lichens is an association of algae and fungi. The lichens are used to detect the quality of air, whether there is air pollution or not. You have heard about the earthworms. Whenever there is a much number of earthworms in the soil, it means the soil quality is good. So these are also bioindicators. These are the organisms which are indicating the health of the environment. So biosensors are the device that we can use for the environmental protections. So I told that these can be enzymes, antibodies or microorganisms, and these can be used in the immunological, genetic and other research purposes. These are also used to overcome the disease. Next we will discuss about many artificial biodegradable bacteria are synthesized by biotech. Yes, I told previously, many bacteria are also synthesized artificially. For example, there is a chemical X that cannot be biodegraded by the natural bacteria. Suppose this chemical is human synthesized, it is not an organic chemical. So the normal natural bacteria cannot degrade this organic compound into simple forms. So for the degradation of this human synthesized chemical, we also synthesize some bacteria in the laboratories. These synthesized bacteria have special genes that are special for this chemical only and can degrade this chemical also. So we can prepare this kind of bacteria. There is example, Pseudomonas alkali is an artificial bacteria that is being prepared in the lab with the help of gene KF707. We introduce this gene into the bacteria and this has become a genetically modified bacteria, and it can degrade a chemical that is polychlorinated biphenyl chemical. Next point is also important. अभी वी प्रीवियसली डिस्कस्ड कि बहुत सारी ऐसी वैरायटी हैं प्लांट्स की जो ऑलरेडी पेस्ट या वीड रेजिस्टेंट बनाई जा सकती हैं बायोटेक्नोलॉजी से. विद द हेल्प ऑफ जीन क्लोनिंग वी मॉडिफाइड दोज प्लांट्स एंड दैट वर रेजिस्टेंट टू द पेस्टिसाइड एंड हर्बिसाइड्स. सो इफ वी ग्रो दोज वेराइटीज which are not susceptible to pests or some viruses, so we can reduce the amount of the use of herbicides or pesticides. And we know very well the pesticides, herbicides or the fungicides are toxic to the environment. For example, bt cotton we have studied in the agriculture so far, the application of biotechnology in the agriculture. The same bt cotton is a pest resistant variety of cotton, so there is no need of pesticide to be applied on the cotton, and it will surely decrease the amount of pesticide and will increase the environmental protection or the toxicity in the soil. Next point is biofertilizers. We very well know that what are the fertilizers. We all use fertilizers to enhance the crop production in our fields. So the biofertilizer will reduce the environmental hazards that were caused by the chemical fertilizers. If we use the chemical fertilizers, that will toxify the soil, they will create the contaminants in the soil. But instead, if we use the biofertilizers or the biological organisms itself, they will not contaminate the soil at all, and it will of course increase the environmental health, or it will protect the environmental. There are some examples of bacteria. For example, Rhizobium and Azotobacter. Rhizobium is an important bacteria that carry out the nitrogen fixation. The nitrogen that is being present in the atmosphere is not directly available to any organism, whether it is a plant or it is an animal. So that nitrogen is needed to be fixed. So that is being fixed by the bacteria Rhizobium. Rhizobium convert nitrogen into ammonia, and the ammonia will changes into nitrite that is being engulfed by the plant. The nitrite also changes to nitrate, and this nitrate form is engulfed by the plant. So these Rhizobium or Azotobacter are biofertilizers because they are providing nitrogen to the plant, and along with the carbon, hydrogen and oxygen, the nitrogen is the fourth most essential element for the plants. So they are providing nitrogen without the use of the fertilizers, so they are biofertilizers. Next and most important, because when we study the application of biotech in environment, we study with special reference to the sewage treatment, and that is being mentioned in the syllabus also. So the sewage treatment is the main application of biotechnology in the environment. We know what is sewage. The sewage is the municipal wastewater or our household sewage plus some industrial waste maybe also. So that is called sewage waste. The sewage waste is the main source for the contamination in the water. The maximum amount of water pollution is caused by the sewage only. So if we can treat the sewage or use in multiple ways, we can use that water in our daily uses. So we can just protect the environment and enhance the quality of water also. So the same process, that is sewage treatment, can also be done with the help of the microorganisms. That's why it is the application of biotechnology, because we are using biological organisms. Those are microorganisms. These microorganisms just treat this sewage up to the maximum that can be possible. So whenever the sewage is treated, the remaining water can be discharged into the seas or the rivers, and it will not just create the environmental pollution or the water pollution so far. So the treated effluent, after the treatment of the sewage, the remaining safe product that we been discharging into the rivers or seas is called effluent or the treated effluent. The remaining byproduct or the slurry that is being remained after even the treatment is called the sewage sludge, and we have to further oxidize or we further treat this sludge and dispose into the landfilling sites after their treatment. So the process of sewage treatment can be summarized in the 5 steps. These are 5 general steps, and that can be done in a sequential manner to achieve the overall process of the sewage treatment. So the sewage waste being treated preliminary, that is the first step. In the preliminary treatment, we just only remove the heavy metals and the debris. Maximum amount of the heavy metals and the debris are just filtered physically. Then we go for the primary treatment, that is the second step. In the primary treatment, we remove the suspended matters by sedimentation. With the sedimentation techniques, the suspended matters are also removed. The third step, that is secondary treatment, it is the most important step. And the biological organisms or the microorganisms are used in this step. The bio-oxidizing organic materials, the materials which can be oxidized or which are organic materials. See, we cannot degrade the inorganic materials with the help of microorganisms. We can only degrade the organic material, and there is a lot of organic material in the sewage because the sewage contains our excretion, and the excretion is full of urea, that is the organic acids. So the microorganisms just oxidize that organic acid, organic content with both aerobic and anaerobic microorganisms. In the secondary treatment, we use both type of bacteria, that are aerobic and anaerobic, means the bacteria which need oxygen for their working or the bacteria which need not oxygen for their working. So it is the most important step in the sewage treatment. In the next step, that is the tertiary treatment, some specific pollutants, even after the treatment of the organic with the microorganism, there are some pollutants also present in that sewage, mainly the phosphate or the nitrogenase. These are some these are some toxic compounds still present in the sewage. So those pollutants are also removed physically. Very lastly, the remaining sludge after the sewage treatment, so far in the 4 steps, we just remove that water and we can discharge into the sea or rivers. The remaining sludge is further oxidize or break down to the maximum values that is possible. So the maximum number of solids are removed or break down. Then the remaining waste is transferred to the landfilling sites. The landfilling sites are the collection of material which cannot be degraded further. So that is stored or that is being thrown at the landfilling sites. So these are the overall applications of the biotechnology in the environment. Thank you very much. Have a nice day.